You're listening to the Curious About Cannabis podcast. How would you describe molecular signaling to someone that is sort of new to trying to understand what the endocannabinoid system is, what a receptor is, what a ligand is, all these sort of things? How would you describe that system? Because normally it gets described as like a lock and key model, which we now know is not appropriate.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. I'm so tired of hearing about the lock and key model, and we're hearing it from a lot of marketing now in the cannabis industry. But the lock and key model, that old model was there was the one key fits one lock, and that could be nothing could be further from the truth in terms of that. We're finding that receptors tend to be promiscuous, if you will. Especially, I spent a lot of time looking at these receptors, orphan nuclear receptors. Inside the nucleus, the PPAR receptors, PPAR gamma is so incredibly promiscuous that two different molecules, two different ligands can fit in there at the same time.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's pretty fascinating. So, and that's by the way, is also considered part of the endocannabinoid system now. Is the PPARs, these orphan nuclear receptors, and they're called orphans because the original ligands were the endogenous ligands were never really established. There's definitely some deep insights into what they are or could be, but when you hear that orphan, it means that we don't really know what the endogenous compound that relates to that receptor is. So, yeah, I think we have, I agree with you completely. It just keeps getting broader and broader, and it's gone well beyond CB1, CB2, FA, MAGL, those enzymes, and it's an exciting time to think about it. In terms of signaling, coming back there, how does signaling happen? Carefully, number one. It is very orchestrated in a very profound way that I don't think most people realize. And so that first piece there, that it's orchestrated, I want to refer to this idea of it's a network. And this really comes from a lot of ecology understanding, where we look at ecosystems and we understand that they're very complicated networks. You can't just introduce rabbits into, right, or whatever it was.
Or pull something out.
Yeah, you can't pull something out or put a species in. In the same sort of way, you can't block a enzyme or a receptor system without having profound implications on the rest of the network. So genes, receptors, enzymes, all these targets, as we call them in pharmacology, respond to messenger molecules. Is a term that I really love because it makes it really clear what these molecules do. Each molecule carries a message, and so these molecules usually bind more than one site, and that's something that's misunderstood as well. And and by the way, then their metabolites, they're broken down by enzymes, and then those metabolites of those molecules then can bind other sites. So we have this incredible network that I like to think of it as network pharmacology. There's this model now that I think is really starting to embrace medicinal plants in a way that couldn't be embraced when we were looking at one target, one ligand model. So signaling is incredibly complex. It's orchestrated. It's about harmony. It's about all these signals happening simultaneously and sequentially, and therefore having a response that makes sense to the body. And without that complex network signaling that includes upregulating and downregulating genes, includes upregulating and downregulating receptors, includes upregulating and downregulating enzyme systems. Without all of that, we would be puddles of slime on the floor.
Right. Yeah.